Here we have the outside layer of a plain nesting doll. And I'm going to use this to think about myself and who I would show you on the outside of me. I'm going to choose, I think I know who I'd like that to be, and I'd like it to be this one. I'd like you to meet me as a warm, smiling, quite loving person. I know that sometimes I might be distracted or my resting face might look a little bit like I'm not very friendly, but I'd love you to think that I am this sort of person and work quite hard at keeping that on the outside of me in situations, particularly where I'm meeting new people for the first time. But if you got to know me a little better and that side of me wasn't always around, I might risk showing to you this part of me that is my more anxious self. And I know this is a very well known part to my husband. And this is where I can get a little overwhelmed by all the things I have to do, all the responsibilities I have. And I can wake in the early hours of the morning thinking about every possible thing that could ever go wrong for the rest of my life. And that's not a very healthy place. And I get busy as soon as I get up and get on with life. I find that this part is likely to settle down. But there are times when another part does come out. And this is what I would call a more stressy part. And it's in the other set, this bit. And this is really when I've gone slightly into stress out overdrive. It was interesting creating the attachment cards. I realized that growing up in my family, stress was not handled well. Everything was a major panic. And I didn't learn how to tolerate stress and to self regulate. And that part of me, I'm getting younger now, I can feel it. She does panic a bit, especially when life is very, very busy and there are lots of plates spinning in the air. I don't want everyone to see that bit of me, though. I like you to think of me as calm and peaceful, happy and serene, but she's there. And underneath her, I think I'm going to go back to the other one, just referring to what I was saying about my home. She's a bit broken down there inside. There were lots of rows. And as I moved into teenage, my father's anger and my mother's illness dominated my life. And yes, there's a broken heart, but there's also a broken me, really, who just wanted to know, who am I? Where do I belong? Where do I fit in? Am I okay? All those fundamental existential questions. And actually, I know who comes next. And she's in the other one. And it's this one. Because right deep down is very little me who was hospitalized under the age of 3. And this was in the 1950s. And I was on my own, and my separation anxiety started then. I'm sure of it. She's very fragile and she's quite scared and quite teary. And if she is around, then what do I do? How do I deal with that part of me? How do I look after her? So let's line them all up. Get rid of the menu there. I wonder how many of those I would trust you with. And as our relationship deepened, hopefully you'd meet them all and help me take care, particularly of these bottom two, the very innermost inner child parts of me, to care for and nurture these most vulnerable parts of me. Do you relate to this? Have you got similar parts yourself? Quite a lot of the time, I just like them to be covered up. I wonder what you cover up.